a lot of people are at church, but usually we'll get a lot of like non-live viewers. So I promise you're not doing this for nothing. And even if there were no people, we would still give you mojos. So that's why you're here, right? That's why I would be here. All right, are we ready to go? All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Casey Wilson. I am an admissions counselor here at Bethel College. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm going to kind of act as our moderator. We have some lovely student panelists here to talk with you. Everyone here is involved in part of our student government. And so we're going to get a little nice chat in about our student government and what that entails. Just so you know who's talking at you for the next half hour. I just graduated from Bethel in May, and I was a chemistry pre-med major. And like I said, I'm working here in admissions. So I know all these people. You're in for a great time. So this is going to be short, 30 minutes, get in, get out. We've had a few submitted questions online that we're going to go through, and then after we finish those, we can head over to the Q&A. So if you have any questions during this chat, feel free to go ahead and drop them in the chat, and we will be sure to answer them before we finish up tonight. So before we get started, let's have everyone tell us a little bit about yourselves. Let's start with Elena, since you're on my screen.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Casey. My name is Elena Wallace, and I am the president of the Student Government Association here at Bethel College. And I am a senior natural science and psychology major from McPherson, Kansas. And I'm really excited to get the chance to talk with everybody today.
Thanks, Elena. All right, let's go to Thomas, your VP.
Hi, my name is Thomas Kuchera. I'm the Vice President of Student Government Association. I'm a sophomore history major from Wichita, Kansas, and I'm really excited to be here to answer all these questions.
Thanks, Thomas. Linda, you want to take it?
Hi, everybody. My name is Linda Moyo, and I am the leader of the Diversity Council on campus. My major is psychology, and I'm minoring in human services, philosophy, and communication arts.
Thanks, Linda. Matt, finish us out.
Hi, my name is Matt Hernandez, and I'm part of the judicial branch with the Student Government Association. I'm a junior from Chanute, Kansas, and I'm a social work major.
Great, thank you all. I'm excited to chat with you a little bit tonight. I actually haven't been involved with SGA since I was pretty busy when I was in college, so I'm excited to learn along with our guests. So let's just kick it off. I think, Elena, this is probably a good one for you. Let's just talk about how SGA is similar to high school, student government, different, etc.
Yeah, sure. I was actually we called it Stuco in high school. I don't know if any of you have Stuco or have any experience with it, but we just called it like student council. So I was really curious about student government when I got to Bethel. I ended up joining as a senator first, my first few years. And there are some key similarities between high school student government or student council and Bethel College's student government. And the main similarities is just an overall like advocating on behalf of your friends. Like you're representing your peers to the administration, or in high school, maybe like your principal, or if there's any big decisions to be made and they're like, I wonder what students think, they can ask student council. So similar thing at Bethel, they ask student government, what do you think students would think of putting a water fountain right here? Like, yes, do it. So that's some key similarities between student council or Stuco and student government at Bethel.
Great, thank you. So let's just kind of tail off of that. Thomas, this might be a good one for you. Just kind of what does SGA do at Bethel College? So I know in my time at Bethel, there were a couple of key projects that were brought about by SGA. So wondering if you could talk a little bit about how that all works for you guys.
Yeah, so our job as SGA is to advocate for the student body and improve campus life for everyone. Even the commuter centers who don't, commuter students who don't necessarily live here still can gain these benefits that we're pushing. Like we have pushed a lot of water bottle refill stations to be put around campus because a lot of people are carrying water. There's a lot of athletes, especially here at Bethel. And you got to keep hydrated. We have pushed for advances in the campus safety system. Whatever the student body thinks that they need to improve the campus security and campus community, that's what we're there for.
Yeah, I know that some of my personal favorite projects were the free printing and free laundry. That was very handy. So SGA always comes in clutch for us as students. So next, I kind of want to go on and talk to Linda a little bit about Divco, Diversity Council. I've always loved what Diversity Council does on campus. So how about you just tell us a little bit about Divco, about some of the things you do, what your role is as the kind of consult for Divco in SGA and that kind of stuff.
So I am the leader of the Diversity Council, and Diversity Council as a whole strives to be responsive to the need for civility and cultural awareness on campus by offering various programs and events that embrace differences and celebrate unity. And we have fun, free events for all students that are educational, and you get free stuff and you just learn about all the various cultures that Bethel represents.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always loved the Divco events that go on. I've always found them really fun. So kind of taking that branching path that we did with Divco, Matt, let's go to you. You've got a couple of different spots on campus where you fit. So I'll let you decide if you want to talk about the judiciary branch first, or if you want to talk about student chaplain.
Okay, I'll spend a little time talking about the judicial branch. So right now with the judicial branch, Elena had actually reached out to me last year because I had no high school experience of like student government or anything like that. I was kind of just completely focused on sports. And then she kind of hit me up and was like, hey, I think you'd be really good at this. And I was like, okay, I've never really thought of it, but let me try it. And then I was like, I joined. And right now with the judicial branch, we're working on our laws and the bylaws and just rewriting them and just making more of a voice for the students and figuring that aspect of it out. We've worked on that for a while. That's like our main focus right now so far.
Awesome. So yeah, so the way that you got involved was just by Elena cherry picking you, which is what happens a lot on Bethel, right? We see people who would excel in a certain area and we can convince them to come join us. That's how I ended up in admissions. So that's awesome. So any of you can talk about this. We can go back to Elena, or if someone else wants to take it, that's fine. So a lot of people, when they get to college, they worry about time management. I know Elena and I definitely talked a lot about our time management and how we did that because we were both super busy on campus. So how big of a time commitment is SGA? Is it kind of something where it's as much of a time commitment as you make it, or what's the amount of time someone can expect to give to SGA if they want to join?
Yeah, I can start and answer that, and then maybe other people can jump in with their experiences. But I would say it really varies on how much time you're wanting to put in and what kind of position you're interested in taking within student government. So I know when I was a freshman senator, I spent maybe an hour a week, maybe like average half hour a week. We would have Senate meetings every 2 weeks. So our student government is split up into 3 branches: the legislative branch, executive branch, and judicial branch, similar to the federal government. So in Senate, senators are responsible for being committee meetings every other week, and then Senate meetings every other week. And neither of those will take longer than an hour. So it's not a huge time commitment to be in Senate, which is the bulk of student government members. If you get up into the executive branch, then it becomes more of a time commitment, but it's really whatever you want to spend. I probably spend, 5 to 8 hours a week on student government stuff, but Thomas and I end up dividing a lot of it up, and that's because I take a lot of meetings. You wouldn't have to do that. You can really adjust your schedule to whatever you need. I would say if you're interested in student government, you can definitely make it work with any schedule, but maybe some others want to share their experience with time management and student government.
Yeah, I can go ahead and speak on that for a little bit. So I had the experience of jumping from a freshman senator, which is arguably the least time extensive position in SGA, into the vice presidency, which is the second most time extensive position. So that was an interesting jump there, starting my sophomore year. But I mean, if you're really passionate about what you're doing, like you have and you find that in SGA, you're gonna find time to do what you think is good for the student body and what you want to do. Like, we're all really busy here at Bethel College. Everybody's a part of something, like even on top of SGA. So you're already busy there, and you add this on top. It can get stressful, but it's really up to you and how you're going to make that. You're going to make that time like worth it or not. And I think that our SGA currently definitely makes their time worth it.
Awesome. That's a great answer, Thomas. Thank you for popping in there. So I think this is probably a good chance, since we've got some different groups represented here, to talk about scholarships. So Elena or Thomas, if you want to talk about SGA-related scholarships or like payments, Matt, maybe you want to talk about student chaplain in that sense. And then Lindo, if Divco has anything that they offer on that front, then that might be good to mention as well. So let's start off with SGA. Thomas, Elena, whoever wants to take it.
Yeah, I can start. So without getting into too much financial aid stuff, instead of scholarships, student government just calls them stipends. And basically, it's just money that goes on your paycheck. So it's technically a campus job. And then you just get a paycheck. We get paid quarterly in student government. So each position, depending on how much work they're doing, has a different stipend. And those range between like $200 and $500 for the year. So depending on your position and how many hours you're putting in, you could receive like $50 every couple months, like every quarter. So it's not like a whole lot of money, but it is an extra something. Like, that's definitely better than nothing. So yeah, stipends instead of scholarships, still very helpful. And you can just tack it on to another on-campus job you have, or if you want that to be your main on-campus job. If you're scared about getting a big on-campus job, you could start with student government, and it's a little stipend. Yeah, I don't know if Thomas wants to add anything.
Yeah, to say a little bit about scholarships, I feel like SGA, even though we do provide a smaller stipend, it's good for those who are seeking further education after their undergraduate degree. That's where this SGA comes in handy, because that could get you a scholarship at some place. You can get a merit-based scholarship at a graduate school, and SGA could be a large part of that.
Absolutely. That's a great point. I'm sure, Elena, your role as president probably was very nice when you were attempting to get into dental school. So I know my leadership positions helped me get into med school. So that's a really good point, Thomas. So Let's see, Matt, do you want to speak a little bit about your role as a student chaplain and then a little bit about scholarships, payments, that kind of thing that's involved with that?
Yeah, that would be perfect. As a student chaplain, our main role is really it's like a spiritual helper and a mentor-ish for other kids like on campus. See, right now for me, I've been a student chaplain since my sophomore year. And coming in, that was always something I was very interested in because my faith is like a big part, like the main part of who I am and who I want to be as I continue to grow up. And I've been, for my role, I actually still have lived in the freshman dorms since my freshman year. I still live in the freshman dorms. And I'm kind of like a mentor to some people, like on the freshman dorms, and just like an open ear. My door's always open policy. People come in, can tell me their problems and stuff like that, and it's completely confidential, just between me and them. And I'm just somebody that when times get really stressful on campus, just somebody to lean on, just someone to listen to. And other things that we do as chaplains, we have campus ministries, and that's like we do chapels every Wednesday, and then other events. It's for the most part, they're spiritual events, but other things we do is maybe like a pancake feed or just like maybe a cookout, just something to get the campus involved and just get the groups involved. And then like on the financial side of it, as Elena talked about earlier, we do get stipends as well. We get ours at the end of the semester, and that is $275 per semester. So I mean it's nice, and I mean it's good for the work that we do. And really, we have right now we have 7 chaplains. It's a pretty small group, but we all really get along, and it's just another group to be a part of and something like it's fun. And you can see the payoff when you get to like help somebody, and then you can pray with them and just that type of stuff.
Yeah, that's great. I know my brother-in-law is a chaplain and he loves it. So I think that it's a great gig on campus if it's something that suits you. So Linda, anything with Divco?
I would say these guys covered it all. We do get stipends as well. And depending on how many people are a part of our membership, that's going to differentiate how much we get. So we just divide it equally.
Awesome. So let's see. We've got a couple more questions, and then we'll go on to maybe some like looser ended questions. Take them where you will. So let's start with how many positions are available in SGA. Matt, you kind of talked about already that the number of people that are involved in chaplains. So maybe Elena or Thomas, if you want to talk about how many positions are available in each branch, if it fluctuates, et cetera.
Yeah, I can take this one. I'm going to have to do a little bit of math here. So we have 3 freshman senators, 3 sophomore senators, 3 junior senators, 3 senior senators, 3 at-large senators, and 2 commuter senators. And then, man, so those are all positions that get elected every year. We have in the springtime for the next year, we vote for that next year's Senate. Excluding the freshmen, obviously, because they're not on campus. Then there's, let's see, there's the presidency, the vice presidency, obviously, chief of staff. So speaker of the House, speaker of the Senate, sorry. Social media, the Divco one, if when Linda eventually leaves, the SAC position, and the Chief Justice. Those are all available positions in some variety in SGA. And I mean, although there is a shuffle because we're all college students and we're only here for 4 to 5 years, there is some good syncness in the people who are leaving and then the people who will take their place and what they were working on. And yeah, I feel like that's probably the most important aspect of the transition.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, I do want to mention that these aren't positions that you're stuck in for all 4 years by any means. If you decide that you don't have time, you can vacate, and there's always someone who wants that opportunity. So it's a low pressure situation. I've only heard good things from people who have been part of SGA. Elena, do you have anything to add to that?
I think Thomas covered most of it. That was some great math, Thomas. I think I would have stumbled more, so I'm glad you took that one. I guess the only thing to add, which Thomas basically said that most of the positions are elected. So you run and then the student body chooses you as your representative for the legislative branch, and then for president and vice president who run together on the same ticket. And then all of the executive branch. So that was the other people he mentioned. So chief of staff, secretary of public relations, secretary of student activity council, secretary of diversity council, and chief justice. Those are all appointed by the president. So that's how some of these people got recruited. So like that's how Linda and Matt got recruited, is they got an email from me saying, hey, you would be so great at this. But yeah, Thomas covered most of it.
Well, Elena, you picked some great people. They're all very knowledgeable. I think you did well. So Linda, do you want to talk anything about Divco? My understanding is that's a pretty whoever wants to be involved kind of shifting situation. But if you want to add anything, this is your time.
Yes. So at the beginning of the year, we do have events that allow for people to kind of look at clubs around the school and see what they're interested in. That's a perfect time to get in touch with Divco and kind of see what we're all about and what we stand for. And if not, you can email us at our Divco email, or talk to me or other people and members who are part of Divco. And we have had a few students who have said, you know what, let me try it out for about a week or two. And if I like it, I can stay. And if it's not for me, or if I'm busy, I can, leave. And so we are very open like that. And yeah, you just come and talk to us and we'll see what we can do with you.
That's great. Yeah, it's great to be flexible when it's college students involved, because we tend to be very busy and have changing schedules. So I'm sure everyone in this group has experienced. So here's a question that was asked, and I would like to hear everyone's unique perspective on it. So why should someone come to Bethel, and then why should someone who has chosen Bethel consider taking on your role? So for Elena, that's president, Thomas VP, Matt, you can talk judicial and chaplain, Linda, Divco, etc. So Elena, you tend to be our first person.
Sure. So why should someone come to Bethel? You should come to Bethel when you feel like it is the perfect fit for you, or you think it will be a good fit for you. Bethel is an amazing school. My story is kind of funny. I never wanted to go to Bethel. Like, I grew up 30 minutes away from here. I'm like, oh, Bethel, it's so close to home. Like, I wasn't even considering it. And then I ended up coming on a visit, and I just fell in love with every single professors. I just really fell in love with everything about it. And felt like it was a good fit for me. So I would say just explore schools, and when you feel like it's the best fit, then just go with your gut and make the best decision for you. So once you decide Bethel, because awesome, and you're here, again, with being president, I never expected that I would be president. I thought I was just going to chill in the Senate. And then the current president at the time approached me and was like, hey, have you considered being president? He went up to my car window after a Senate meeting, knocked on it. It's it scared me so much. I rolled down the window. I'm like, what? It's like, hey, have you considered being president? I'm like, I just laughed at him. And he's like, you should. And then he just walked off. And I'm like, well, I hadn't even thought about it. But it ended up being a really good choice for me. There are so many things on campus that I'm so passionate about. And I'm really passionate about standing up for my friends and helping my friends and my peers. be in a fun and safe environment. And I love Bethel, and I want it to be the best place that it can be. So I'm like, yeah, let's be president. Like, sounds fun. Let's give it a go. Everything just kind of fell into place for me with Bethel and the roles that I have here. So I would say just roll with it, and you'll learn a lot about yourself, and just try new things. So kind of a long answer, but filled with a lot of stuff.
Yes, that's great. Thank you so much. And I can say that Elena is great at her job. So the previous president was right in suggesting you try to get that presidency for yourself. So you're doing great. Thomas, do you want to talk a little bit about maybe your perspective on why someone should come to Bethel, or why you chose Bethel, and then maybe why someone should consider going straight from Senate to VP as a sophomore?
Yeah, so my path to Bethel was about like Elena's. So I grew up 30 minutes away from here, and I came here one time during a high school track and field event. It was like, I'm never going to step foot on in this place ever again. But then I came for a visit my senior year of high school, and I instantly fell in love with just the natural beauty in here, like around Bethel. The trees are amazing, especially during the fall when I took my first visit. All the colors, even me, a partially colorblind person, can appreciate it, and that was really impactful to me. And something that I've taken to heart here while I've been here is something about our mascot, the Thresher. There's not that very like. Can you name another place that has a Thresher for a mascot? This place is inherently different, and when you come here, you have the opportunity to be inherently different by being involved in all these things. Like, I'm involved in football, and SGA. I'm a tutor here on campus. And there's so many things that you can do here that you wouldn't be able to do at like a bigger school, because it's just the opportunity's not there. And so I would very much tell you, if you want to do as much as possible, please come to Bethel.
That was such a great answer. I want to write that down so I can refer back to it when I'm having a bad day. All right. So Matt, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I can go next. I'd say my path to Bethel was very unique. I had a high school friend from another town close to me actually reach out to a coach to get me recruited. So that was crazy as it was. And it was very late in my recruiting process. And I already thought I was going to go somewhere else. I won't say where because it was a rival school. So I'll keep that to myself. But so, yeah. And then I came to Bethel, and I remember I'm in choir as well. And I remember going to choir, and Casey, you might have been a part of the choir then. And Bill, that's our choir teacher. He pulled me down and put me in front of the choir, and he's like, okay, everybody sing to Matt. And I was like, oh my gosh. It was just all these voices were right in my face. And at that moment I was like, okay, like Bethel's the place for me. I'm going to come here. So yeah, I feel like anybody that comes onto this campus, you just have that feeling, you just know, yeah, this is the place. Cause I remember after I left, my sisters came with me on my visit. And after I left, I was like, yeah, I'm going here. And they're like, how do you know? I was like, I just know I'm going here. And I talked about it with my parents, and they were like, okay. And then to go into why someone should consider being a student chaplain, it's been very, very beneficial for me. I've opened up so many windows and opportunities for me. My freshman year, I think somehow somebody reached out to me and was like, I heard you'd be good at speaking. And I was still when I was really kind of closed off to that. And I was like, I don't know about that. I don't know who told you that, but I did it. And then Peter Gorzen was our pastor before, and he was like, you need to be a chaplain. And I was like, yes, sir. Okay. And so, yeah, my sophomore year, I got to speak at the board of directors meeting, which was a huge step for me. And it was just very moving for me and for them. And that's just another moment in my Bethel experience. I was like, yeah, this is the place that I need to be. So if you come on a visit, you'll know to choose Bethel. You'll just have that feeling.
That's great. Yeah. That choir experience was very instrumental in my choosing Bethel as well. Just those little moments, they're so important. So, Linda, you want to finish this out? Talk a little bit about how you feel, someone should come to Bethel, what the right reasons are, and that kind of stuff, and then why to get involved in Divco.
Yes. So like Thomas and Elena, I used to live less than a block away from Bethel. So I was like, I am never going to that school. And my brother used to go there. So I didn't want to be associated. Every single day, even now when I go, somebody knows my dad's name, my mom's name. So at first I shied away from going to a place where I would be known. But now I love it because that means that I get to network with other people. And something that's important to me is being myself as an individual, but also being part of a greater community. And Bethel has allowed me to do that. I'm a commuter student who works 40 hours a week, and I can still participate in all these various programs on campus, and I still feel connected to the campus, even though I, am rarely there. So that's what I appreciate about Bethel. And if anybody who wishes to go to Bethel or why you should consider going to Bethel is for that very reason. You can still keep your individuality while also being part of something greater. For example, I am a psychology major with 3 minors. You cannot do that at any other college. So I like how I can explore my education and make it personal for me as well. And being part of Divco, it has opened me up to form relationships with students on campus, even professors. And it's just a great way to embrace all the cultures at Bethel. I know that we have a lot of international students, and one of the traditions for Diversity Council is to partner up with the international students and to have an event where we get to hear about their experience being in America, try their food, their different cultures and talents. So I love being able to do all of that at Bethel.
Thank you so much, Linda. I loved the way that you said you can keep your individuality while being part of a community. I think that that is a great way to put it. That is exactly how I felt. And I'm sure that all of our panelists tonight felt when they talked about stepping onto campus and it feeling right. So thank you so much for that. Well, we are only 2 minutes over time, but I hope those 2 minutes were worth it for our viewers. I'm sure they were, since we had some great answers from some great people. Thank you so much to our student panelists for taking their time to be part of this tonight. And thank you so much to our viewers. Thank you for watching. If anyone has questions, feel free to reach out to admissions. I'm sure we can get you into contact with any of these people if you have pressing questions for them. And I hope that everyone has a great rest of their Wednesday night. Bye, everyone.